understand vision. See it in your eyes, it's a T, we are winning. We can let it slide in the past, reminiscing. I got stories in my past, chapters that are missing. Deep it, didn't really care about rap. African boy.
You don't know, many Africans came to the UK. Some came by boat. Yeah, and we're talking about through ships from places like ports in Port Harcourt, Lagos, etc. And some also came by plane. In the 50s, exactly the same time when the Caribbeans were coming through the Windrush, Africans were coming here to the UK. Most of them came to build the railways, the construction sites, exactly the same way really, but very much little is spoken about them in terms of their contributions and what they came here to do. A lot of them did come to learn and become, let's say, better people in terms of their knowledge, education and qualifications in order to go back home. A lot of them came to be lawyers, solicitors, barristers, doctors, and many of them did graduate and many of them did travel back home and set up their businesses, etc., and their consultancies, many of which also sent their children to come also continue the same path. I would say that they also set up roots here just like those of us that came from the Caribbean. And often not much is spoken about them. We do know that there's a large presence of Africans here in the UK. Now the UK has been many things to us. It's been a home, it's been a place that we've learnt, we've been educated and aspired to do things in the proper way. A lot of our own African heritage is what we bring to the table for our music, for our dance, for our artistic endeavours and culture, and also for our knowledge and our history and many other aspects. Some of the top brains in the world, as you know, are African. Doctors, consultants and all sorts of engineers, etc. So yeah, we have brought a lot, and we also intend to keep our identity. Just like the Asians, they keep their identity, but they're also British, and so are we Africans, African British. My parents, in particular my dad, came first, and he himself had to live in Notting Hill. Everyone knows about Notting Hill, and basically those that know Notting Hill back in the 50s or 40s or whatever it was, around that sort of time, you know, after the war, we were saying really after 45, the place was bomb damaged. Yeah, it was really a dump. No one really wanted to live there. Yes, it had magnificent big houses, etc., etc., but a lot of immigrants had to live somewhere, and that was one of the places a lot of them gravitated to, because it was really bomb damaged and basically very, very I would say a rough place to live in terms of quality of housing. So they settled in there in dormitories, they settled in there in sort of houses where they could you know, run by churches, etc., and that's how a lot of them got somewhere to stay, just like hostels. And my father showed me a picture, I remember once, which had an hostel where he was staying with other Africans and other people from different parts of the world, and from there they were able to build themselves up, reconnect with their people, their kins, their cousins, their friends and other Nigerians and other Ghanaians, etc., other Africans, and from there were able to then make way to get work and establish themselves, and also buy their own properties, for those that could actually afford to buy their own properties. And those that did manage to buy the properties, like my father, who bought his house at the time for £4,000 in Kilburn, was able to then house other people to try and alleviate the problem of our people not being able to find somewhere to stay, because as you know, on the doors it's to say no blacks, no Irish, no dogs. So based on that, there wasn't just a unique thing to Caribbeans, there was also pointed at us Africans as well. So we must understand that this was a general thing. There was no blacks, no Irish, no dogs. And that's how the British felt, but it wasn't what they called us for. They called us to come and help them. But a lot of us came here, they went through the traumas of it all, and they survived. And I'm a living testament as a second or third generation. And obviously I've got children here who are also born here.
Don't let it fade. Don't let it fade. Don't let it fade. Don't let it fade. I lay alone sometimes. In the middle of the night, I try to ease my mind.
The 83 to Abuja, coming out of passengers in group H, please come forward.
About to board the plane to go to Nigeria from Heathrow to Abuja. People of the world.
My name is Ethel, MacPepple-Jaja, and I'm going to talk about my visit to Nigeria before and compared to now. I visited Nigeria when I was like a student. I think it was like back in the 90s. And what I can see now, it wasn't as developed as it is now. It's a lot more developed, and in terms of certain items you couldn't get, like the supermarket, things like that, they didn't have much, I'd have to say, compared to now. Now I've seen you can get anything basically, you know, as long as you've got the money, you're fine, you know, and you can say, have what you want. There's a lot of roads, you know, you have to have transportation. That's one thing, you know, there's no like catch a bus, or if you're going to get a taxi or go with local people. But apart from that, you know, you have to have a driver who knows how to drive. I'm really intrigued, impressed by the music videos. The fashion is just popping, as they say. You know, it really is dynamic. You know, it's just come a long way.
So my name is Bie Oputu. I refer to myself as a returnee, having spent about 20 years in Canada, and I came back to Nigeria some years back, about 5-6 years ago. The positives, the positives for me, basically the fashion industry, the music industry, more importantly, the fashion industry. Gone are the days when we used to have to go abroad to buy clothes and bags and stuff like that. Now everybody is wearing Ankara or Adire. We have fantastic tailors. So we basically depend on our local fabrics, and everybody turns out looking beautiful. You could have 10 people using the same fabric, and everybody has their angle, and it depends on how they want to present themselves. So I think that is a huge plus for Nigeria.
In terms of the food, beautiful, lovely, delicious, really nice. You know, we've had like a range of, you know, jollof rice, the stew, the pepper soup, you know, eba, you know, it's just really, really nice. And the food is, I'd have to say, you call it organic, fresh, nothing processed, you know, so you know what's going into your body, and you feel much healthier for it. So that's really is very good. They've still got a lot to do, you know. I mean, I've traveled, if I compare the Caribbean, their architecture to here and the landscaping, not unless maybe when I go to like Lagos or other parts I might see, but the landscaping could be interesting. I did see them selling plants, so I can see that is coming, you know. So some really good landscape designers would be interesting. My family and I, we went to the Children's Zoo, which is front of Aso Rock, and that was really nice seeing that. You saw all the different, like the cultures there, and we saw some people celebrating birthdays, so they have their little section in the park. We saw somebody, they had the drums and they're playing the drums, and I think it could have been an engagement or something. So it was really intimate. They could choose their little area and do what they wanted. I think I saw some fashion people because they were wearing something very unusual, which was nice, but I could tell they were going to do either a fashion shoot or something. We saw like someone making a music video. That was really nice to watch, and seeing the director, how he's directing them, like a lovely couple, like they're falling in love. But the song, although I couldn't understand what they were singing about because the language, but I kind of like could put things together. I could see it was like romantic, and she's probably teasing him, and you could kind of understand what they were doing. So it was really nice seeing that, as well as we saw the animals. We saw the lion was funny, kept making this funny noise like and we saw some hyenas, and they were like two hyenas. They were like probably like playful fighting, but it was like, oh, what can we do? Okay, let's fight.
Hello, I'm Patrick Uku from Warri, Delta State, Nigeria. I want to talk about education life back then and present time in Nigeria. Way back for me, from the early 80s, school life used to be so interesting in the sense that nursery school, primary school, secondary schools, they used to be free education for all children. Then you see the government, they make provision for their tuition fee, textbooks, and they even feed them. As time goes on, the government begin to fail its responsibility by providing all these lovely life to the children. They started by introducing school fees, whereby some parents were unable to pay the tuition fee for the children, and at the end of the day, they kept withdrawing out from school. This one now made some children to be hawking food item and otherwise on the road. Then later on, the private sector did not discover that since government has failed in this education aspect for children, they start organizing lectures from lection home for children, that they call it lesson in Nigeria, lesson for children, and before you know, it grew into a school. So as of today in Nigeria, 80% of schools ranging from nursery, primary, secondary, up to university, 80% of it, they are owned by private institutions. Looking at it, private institution, yeah, is good, but it's very, very expensive. It's on the high side for people. So it's still like we're going back to where we were before, because the private school is only the rich that can afford it. Imagine you having a child in the primary school, you're paying as much as 300, 400,000 per term. In the secondary school, some they pay from 700, 1 million, 1.5 and above for secondary school. And university, you see people paying from 2.5 million upward, of which minimum wage in Nigeria is 30,000 naira per month. So you see people who don't have this money, they cannot afford to take their children or send their children to school. I want to talk about the good side, the good life in Nigeria. As you can see for today, Nigeria is a beautiful place. A beautiful place for tourism, name it. You can see people from all over the world. As of today, they're all coming to Nigeria. You come to Abuja, you go to Lagos, you go to Port Harcourt. We have different places, lovely places which you can visit in Nigeria. Like before, we used to have poor road network. Like my growing up time, I discovered we used to play around the compound, the road, without digital. When I say without digital, then we were unable to go to cinema. Today, we have good cinemas. Internet, we were unable to check your email via your phone. Then, if you want to check your email, you have to go to a cyber cafe. You see the staffs in the cafe, they will tell you, when you are typing your email, before you click send, they say, oh, no internet. We don't even know what was internet. All we know, we're sending message and the message deliver. So today, as of today, with your phone, you can do anything, which is good, anything you want to do. Then, TV, when it comes to television, then we're having this box TV, black and white. But as of today, we have flat screen. Name it, we watch the DSTV, Netflix, and anything you want to watch, we watch on the go. Then you talk about telecommunication. Then there was no handset. We were using the landline. We call it Nintel. Nintel, like the Vodafone and other network you have now. Then we don't have handset, but today we can make calls with our phones. Then, if you talk about religion life, I always like to talk about religion life in Nigeria. Nigeria, the two major religions in Nigeria, we have Christianity and the Muslim Islamic religion. But with this, you find yourself anywhere you fit in or anywhere you belong. The Christians on Sundays, you go to church. We have all kind of churches in Nigeria. Catholic, Redeem, name it. All form of Pentecostal churches, we have them in Nigeria. And good. The biggest Pentecostal church in Nigeria is based in Abuja. Then the Muslim, yeah, fine. They do their prayers, they have their mosques. And one of the biggest mosques in Nigeria is still based in Abuja, because I'm based in Abuja. That's why I'm mentioning Abuja. Then That's for religion. Social life in Nigeria is fantastic. Let me start from the FCT, the Federal Capital Territory, which is Abuja. In Abuja, you have the best form of suya. Suya is the foreign word, you call it the grilled chicken, the grilled beef. But here in Nigeria, the beef is being processed with the charcoal oven, and they have some special spices they use for it. And we have the dried one. They call that one kilishi. Then also in Abuja, there are different kind of organic drink. We have the kunu, we have the zobo, we have all sort of drinks, name it. Then, if you go to Lagos, Lagos is where it happens. In Lagos, you have all the superstars, all the super world stars you see on your screen today. Name them, name them, name them. You have the Wizkid, you have the Jajamoff, you have the Davido, name it. They are all in Lagos. There is no dull moment in Lagos. You have the Fela Shrine in Lagos. That's where you visit, you see them dancing the real Afro beats dance in Nigeria. Then, the food in Lagos, all sort of food in Lagos. I only mention the local food that is international standard. In Lagos, you have the major food in Lagos is amala, ewedu, and gbegiri with assorted meats and fish in Lagos. In Nigeria, let me go to culture. There are different cultures in Nigeria. Why we have different cultures in Nigeria is blessed with 36 states. Abuja being the capital of Nigeria. We have the Lagos, we have the Port Harcourt, we have Edo State, Benin City, Sokoto, Kano, name it. Lagos is a very busy place because Lagos used to be the capital city of Nigeria before we had it, or before it was brought to Abuja. That's why if you go to Lagos, you see everything. But the only thing in Lagos for today, Lagos is, let me use the lame language, is crowded. There's no space in Lagos. Abuja for today, Abuja is a fast developing city in Nigeria. Everything you have in Abuja. You have the Aso Rock in Abuja, you have the Zuma Rock in Abuja, you have the presidency in Abuja. Abuja, there are so many opportunities in Abuja. Name it. Name it any kind of thing you want, investments, anything you want to do, you can do it in Abuja. I've always been mentioning Abuja, Lagos. We have other beautiful places in Nigeria. We have Port Harcourt. We have Delta States. We have Edo States. In Port Harcourt, if you visit Port Harcourt today, first thing you enjoy in Port Harcourt is roasted plantain and roasted fish. When we say roasted fish, it's not the frozen fish, the real sea fish. All sort of seafood, they are all in Port Harcourt. Then, if you go to Delta states, like you visit Warri, in Warri, you have different kind of delicacies in Warri. You have the pepper soup, you have the banga soup and starch. Name it. Then, if you go to Edo State, if you visit Edo State, wow, I love talking about Edo State because Edo State is really rich in culture. That's why they call Edo State the ancient city in Nigeria. In Edo State, one beautiful thing about Edo State, every December they have one great festival which they always celebrate. It's like their Christmas. It's like the Thanksgiving Day in America, in Canada. They call it Igwe Festival. It's usually every December. So if you visit Benin in December, it's fantastic for you. There's nothing you don't get in Benin. In Benin, you have one of the best hotels in Nigeria, in Benin. In Benin, they have a museum in the center city of Benin. It's like the museum is planted the center of Benin. Then in Benin, they have different delicacies in Benin. Trust me, in Benin, they have plantain, they have, name it, different food. In Nigeria, way back, Nigeria, there was no road. No road in Nigeria in the sense that if you want to drive, you have to follow the bush paths, earth road. Then, I think I would say the government, they've really tried by providing good road, quality roads, and they provided drainage system. And it's still ongoing. It's an ongoing process in Nigeria. Like if you visit the FCT, Abuja, you will see massive construction, international standards contractors, and then handling the road construction. Then, when we talk about entertainment, entertainment before, it used to be very poor, I will tell you. It's poor, but the music then, they were still recognized worldwide. But today, the entertainment industry, like Nollywood, before, when they want to act film, they could just, they were doing a stage play. But today, you see them, it's location. They shoot location, you know. They've even gone global. From Nigeria, they move to UK, move to Ghana, move to Canada, anywhere in the world, any part of the world, just to shoot the Nigerian film. Even the artists, the musicians, they are all global. They've gone global. I can tell you, one of the best artists in the world, they are from Nigeria today. Way back when we want to play music, when we go to clubs and everything, is the American hip hop. But today is the Nigeria hip hop. Afrobeat. We call us Afrobeat, not hip hop. Afrobeat. You need to see the beatings, you know. I can mention some musicians that I would like you to even, go online and you see them. There's a talented musician name Jajamoff is a Nigerian. You need to see the beats. Check online, go to YouTube, check for Jajamoff. We have the Kids Daniel, we have the Davido, we have Wizkid. There are so many. These are the few. You have Tiwa Savage, name it. We have Eniola. You know, there are so many. I was in England some time ago. I went to a party. I was surprised. I was expecting them to play the normal Western hip hop music. To my greatest surprise, they were just playing Nigerian music. I was like, am I in Nigeria? I was seeing all the white girls, all the white guys, you know, everybody, they were all dancing. You need to see they were even dancing more than the Nigerians, you know. So that's to tell you how far the entertainment industry has gone. Fashion world or fashion life. In Nigeria before, when we want to buy clothes, we order the Western clothes, like your suit, your blazers. They must all come from the Western world. Your jean, your name it, your shirts, both the women outfits, wedding gowns. Let me even go more into wedding fashion. That's where the int is. Okay, way back, you see Nigerians, they travel abroad to buy wedding gown. But as of today in Nigeria, the best wedding gown in the world is produced in Nigeria. They sew these gowns with well-detailed gowns. Even the men, their suits is being prepared or being sold in Nigeria. Then apart from that, you know Nigerians, they are creative. They have this creative, they are creative in all ramification. They could take the Western arts, mix with the Nigeria one, and they come out something beautiful. Then, if you talk about artists, painting, the best painting in the world today comes from Nigeria. We have a lot of great artists. They create things, you understand? Like if you visit Nigeria, you go to art galleries and you will see beautiful and handiwork, crafts in the gallery. And you need to look at the buildings in Nigeria today. I was surprised. I was moving about in Abuja, we were driving, and my friends that came from England, as we were driving, when they see this building, they say, wow, this is beautiful, beautiful. I'm like, really? They say, yeah, oh, I love this art. Look at this. Oh, they say, oh, this building is built with detail and everything. I said, yeah, that is Nigeria.
Okay, my name is Adedeji Adelakun. I am a Nigerian and about half a decade year old now. And what do I have to say about Nigeria? It's not been a bad story all the way. Yeah, we've had some experiences in Nigeria, not too pleasant, some really good. Yeah, but I can say, looking back to when we started and how it started, the experiences I've had have not been too poor. I can share a bit and a few of them. Growing up was fun in Nigeria for me. I remember then, living down west. Holiday was fun to be in Nigeria. You get to have parents take their children around. But such is not the situation as we speak. What has happened? I think the population has grown. What has happened again? I think we are contacting a bit of the Western world. We are contacting some ideas, and that comes with its own bit of influences. All right. So, what will I say? Yeah, it was pleasant then, strolling and roaming the street, growing up as a youth, as a teenager. You know, having fun around, mixing freely in the community, and the community was actually well strengthened. The community was strengthened. A child in the neighborhood is a child of all.
Hi, my name is Bemisala Adelaku. You've heard my husband speak before me. So basically, I have good stories to tell about Nigeria. I am privileged and a product of the nation, and I am a strong advocate of be in Nigeria, live in Nigeria. So I can't say I haven't had good things or been privileged in Nigeria. That is why I'm here today. I am a married mom of 2 lovely children. We've been married for 20 years. So we have 19 and 17-year-old children. The journey has been good. School was nice. We got the best we could in our own little way. Our parents did the best they could afford. We went to public schools, public universities. My husband was a banker. I never worked in a structured environment. You know, when we got married, we had this understanding that he would be out there, you know, and then I'll be in more at home with the children to raise them. I learned quite early that no matter what, no matter how little, a woman should be actively involved or engaged. So I got into business early, tried my hands on a couple of things before I went to a fashion school to learn fashion designing. This was in 2011. That's always been a passion for me, you know. And how did it start? My mom used to have this singer machine, older than me. And somehow in the 80s, she just mentioned it, that look, this machine will be yours. Everybody in the house knew that this is Bemi's machine. So little wonder when Momsi passed on, it was willed to me, and I kept the machine. I still have it today. And somehow in my subconscious, I knew I had to do something with this machine. After trying my hands on a couple of things, I went back to, you know, fashion designing, and it's something I haven't had regrets about. It's a passion. I have been able to empower a lot of people. I've trained several women, men, ladies, you know, and they're doing so very well today. I'm so very proud, you know, of what I've been able to impact, you know, my community in that regard. With the fashion business, I had to slow down a bit so that we can have our ends on deck for this Airbnb business. We just finished another project barely 6 weeks ago. So that really took a whole lot. So I had to slow down on the fashion business. It's not a halt. I just slowed down on it for this to really kickstart. For the Airbnb, we're trying to build a brand. In a very short while we started, within a month or 6 weeks, we got to the superhost status. And then we've been having offers, you know, people wanting to come under us, to enlist under us. It's been encouraging, but it's not something, it's something that we have plans to do, but for now I want us to stabilize and then, spread our tentacles in our own little way before we begin to get other, listings from other hosts and, investors. So what we plan maybe in a couple of years is to be able to, have sell our franchise, to property developers and those interested in the business, So right now what we're trying to work on is having the structure in place, to be able to accommodate the people that want to invest with us, build a strong brand, that is marketable. So that is the focus in the nearest few years. And then when that is stable, the fashion to what I really had plans for before now is that in every shop for our clothing lines to be in every shop. I have a brother-in-law that calls me Intercontinental, that he hopes that someday I will have my shop on Oxford Street in London. Well, I'm hoping
it's a dream that we see come true.
By God's grace. So, yeah.
We believe in growth. We believe in however doing things well. We are never in a hurry to do things. That's, I think, we have been able to come to terms with. In terms of what? Growth has to be measured with capacity. Otherwise, you lose the essence of the service you are rendering. We are actually rendering service. Largely what we do, we render service. And service industry is the only thing that can actually offer you the opportunity that you need in life. That much we have seen. I was more in a structured environment. I was a banker. My engagement in banking spanned about 10
years.
8 to 10 years, all right? So, and I left at the peak of a global meltdown in 2008. So I had to look for something to do of my own. So I basically went into financial services, and I was able to at least cut a space for myself. That lingered for a while she was managing the home front, looking after the children and doing bits and pieces of businesses before she ventured into fashion designing. She did very well in that, and she was able to get good training and add on more to herself by way of re-educating herself. So she has done well in that aspect. So the journey for us into doing several things was out of we needed to at least make a living, out of we needed to at least add an input to people. The benefit of the structured life that I had, and it gave me some input into how to organize people. So, and that has come to play in what we do. That influenced several of what we do together. So all our businesses that we have delved into have been successful. While I was in banking, she was empowered to start a business. What was it? It was
I had a shop in Badagry where I sold what's it called? Capri-Sun, and then milk, Milo,
beverages.
The beverages in the market, so.
And Badagry is in Lagos anyway.
Yes.
So we were in Lagos for quite a while. That was the early part of our marriage. And I think we left Lagos about 2011. While we were doing that, the businesses thrived. And what brought us to Abuja, we just needed a change of space. And we weren't buoyant enough to move outside the shores of Nigeria. So we saw Abuja as another quiet place where we can actually raise the children. And they've been well raised. We give glory to God. The boy is 19 years old.
19 years.
Currently studying mechanical engineering in Canada, and her daughter is
17.
17. She has more of those details. I do more of the thinking. Anyway, so she's doing good too, and she just gained admission to a school in the UK, and the foundation course in medicine. So the home front didn't suffer as much as we delved into business, as much as we tried to do things of our own. What we've largely done has been enterprises until suddenly we saw an opportunity in Airbnb business. And what brought us into this? It was this particular property that we had was actually bought to be put up for rent. And a need came up for a friend who was coming into town who didn't want the regular and conventional hotel accommodation. And we looked around us looking for a space in a quiet place. We couldn't get any, and it just occurred to me, and I discussed with my wife, and I said, look, seems this is going to be something we can actually look into and do well. And we checked out the possibility of converting what we had to a pleasant place for people to come on holidays, to come around and put up when they have need for recreation, short and long stay. And this started barely some 2 years ago.
Yeah, last year.
And we can attest to it that we've been able to impact lives. In what way? People have come around and they've so much appreciated what we have put together. In our own small way, what we do is basically paying attention to details. What we love to do, when we are working on the site, we basically stay the whole day, making sure everything goes to detail, everything is perfect for, the pleasure of our guests. So that's what we do. So largely, the business is run by both of us. I do more of the monitoring, the maintenance work. She does the customer relations. She does the daily activity of managing the staffs. When I need to come in, we relate on notes of events and we take it on from there. So we try to make our buildings very functional. The spaces are not wasted. Every little inch of space, we make sure we provide for what will occupy the space and what will make the guests comfortable. If you look around our spaces, security is critical in Nigeria and elsewhere around the world anyway. So we make sure we have electric fence around all our units such that our guests feel safe. And we have security men around the space to actually manning the gate. You don't get into any of our apartments if you are not invited. We don't allow walk-in. Your visitor has to actually get in at your own instruction. So what else do we have around here? We have a superb internet service, because you may have, in most cases we have international guests who, by whatever reason, we still need to connect with wherever they came from. So we need something that will service and give them that access to the world. So Nigeria is not just a dumb place. So you get to have super Wi-Fi experience in any of our units. What do we have again? We have play area. We know you have come around for recreation. You need to actually stretch your legs around. You can walk around, feel safe within the compound. We've made adequate provision to have electricity backup. The units that we have, the recent one that we just finished, we actually have a solar in place, such that if there's, for any reason, there's a light out from the power holding generation, the unit can function on its own. The AC unit functions on solar. All the microwaves and the kitchen appliances functions well on solar. You have, your cold drinks in the fridge. So you are not really missing anything coming to Nigeria to experience a experience life.
World-class
World-class
hospitality.
hospitality. Yeah, that's what we are targeting, world-class hospitality. So the ambience around us is superb.
Okay, so still on the Airbnb business, where we are presently is the first unit. Like I said earlier, we just finished the second unit about a few weeks ago. And in this second unit, like my husband said, it runs fully on solar powered inverter. So you don't really miss much when there is any power outage. And then presently now, we're working on a pool, a swimming pool for our guests. So the guests from this first unit can have free access to the swimming pool in the second unit. There's a gym there too for the guests here. They have free access. So we're working on a game zone. In a few weeks, that should come up where they have a dedicated space for PS5 and all the likes. Table tennis, snooker board. The children have their own play area, the swing and all of that. So we strive daily, to improve our facility. And the greatest joy for me is meeting with our guests. I have met wonderful people from all over the world, in this business. If not for what we're doing now, I don't think I could, ever have met so many lovely people and several strong relationships, from our guests. We've established, superb relationship with some of our guests, and we're still in touch. Some were even like a family today, so the opportunities abound. And then when we started our lives in Lagos, chaotic, with all this stress in Lagos. And then my husband first visited Abuja, and according to him later, I said he didn't know how to put it before me that, look, we need to relocate. And then he invited myself and the children for a vacation in Abuja, and we came. I was like, wow, is this Nigeria? And that was how we moved. Till tomorrow, people still think, maybe because we had the political, we are not into politics, and why would people just move just like that, And that move has been indeed a blessing. It's something that we have no regrets about. We're happy that we took the bold step. The children are better for it. We are better for it. Our growth is better for it. So back to Nigeria. Nigeria has been and is still a land of opportunity. We are lucky to have made good opportunities of our country. Despite there's so many negative things around, people are still doing good things in Nigeria, and we are happy to be part of that. The name of our brand is Rhoda Board Apartments. Rhoda. It's actually my mother-in-law's English name, or is a Bible name. That means a bit of hospitality. Yeah. So when she passed on a couple of years ago, the name came up, to keep her memories alive. So Rhoda and Apartments. So we merged them and became Rhoda Board Apartments. So our vision, or what we hope for Nigeria, the Nigeria we hope for, the Nigeria that we want to live in, we want our children to grow in, is a Nigeria that is safe, a Nigeria with opportunities where things work. We're hoping that very soon, and really very soon, we would have a Nigeria where we would not have power outages, where the rail lines work, where there is a superb road infrastructure, where the airlines, where we'll have our own national carrier rather, and then where we would have things that work, industries that work, would you emphasize on oil production and imports? You know, we become exporters, producers rather than consumers. Yeah. And we're hoping that very soon, how? Hopefully soon.
The Nigerian content is basically what we use in all our outlets. And we've seen the power in starting small. We started small, a smaller unit. What we have recently is a bigger unit, and we are looking to do something much more bigger. And we've had to relate with people at several points of time that we've seen how they grew. You know, the furniture people, the mason, we've been growing together. And, you know, having to understand what our demands are, you know, and they're happy working with us. So a Nigeria that works is what we are looking for. And we believe all we need is directional leadership. This small business is functioning and it is working basically on good vision. Once we have a visionary leader, everything will fall into place.
And we've met some very interesting people in the course of this business. The people that worked on our blinds, they have an exceptional story to tell. You know, the
Nigerian story to tell, actually.
In fact, a beautiful story. You know, the furniture, the furniture team. These are people that we've been together in the last 10 years. We have a team that work together. The architecture, the blind, the furniture, you know, we are all growing together. And the last year we've been together, and they seem to know what we want them to deliver. We're all growing together. So Nigeria is full of talents, filled with beautiful ideas. You know, very talented people
that can challenge the world.
True.
We have stuffs around here that can match up with world standard.
Yeah, true.
I'm a businesswoman. I sell Ankara, I make clothes, I'm a fashion designer. Then I sell lingerie with my sister too. Okay, so basically it's around 30 to 35,000, depending on the government organization you work for. Most private organizations don't really implement the minimum wage structure in Nigeria. And even at the state level, there are some states that haven't implemented it. But basically, that's nothing to write home about. Like, you really can't do anything with 35,000 naira in Nigeria. Most people just go to work to just earn a living, no matter how small. And I think something I discovered lately is that no matter how small the wage is, people go to work because someone knows that, okay, Edo is working somewhere and like she has a job, and there's this it presents you as a responsible person, such that if you need a loan or you need to take a credit somewhere, somebody can say, okay, she can fill in, she works here, she can take the money or take the loan, and if she needs to pay, we have somewhere we can go and find her. So basically, I've heard a lot of people say I'm working just because I would present myself as credit worthy, something like that. So at the office level, what most people do here is that they come together in they call it like an adashi in the north, or BAM, depend on which part of Nigeria you're from. It's basically like a contribution. People working together just come together, and we can decide to be contributing 5,000 naira every month or 10,000 naira every month, a group of 11 people, 10 people, 20 people, so that at the end of every month, one person takes what, if we are 10, at the end of every month, one person takes what 10 of us have brought together, and then the subsequent months, the person that took for like January will start contributing for February, March, April, May, until you finish contributing for all the other 9 people. So basically, that's how, around here, that's how government workers or people that work can put money, bulk money together. That's how they can save. That's just how they can save. And some people use the normal local saving box and just drop monies in it. But of course, you know that one. When you hook you reach, you bam, open it and you just spend the money. So a lot of people have to have like multiple sources of income just to balance up. You're working, you're doing a trade, you're doing an online business, and all of that. Survival of the fittest.
An idea about how to make tie, how to make batik, because as you can see, we have different styles, we have different patterns of fabric here. We have, as you can see, we have different batik here. We have tie, we have adreleko, which is the indigenous one, and we have candle wax. So the adreleko is the indigenous one. That is, they are the one our forefathers are doing during those days, and it is dyed with local dye. Because we have, when you go to, which one is this? This is candle wax, okay, and this is adreleko.
Oh, that's the really
yes, you can differentiate it. Like this adreleko now, you can only see the front, but you can't see the inside. Okay. But when it is candle wax, you can see the both sides.
So it's the way they've done it.
Yes, and well, there are some techniques on how it is done. Like this one now, the equipment used for this design now, you have your chicken feather. Maybe when you need to curve some lines, you use your chicken feather. Maybe if you want to block anything, maybe a hole, maybe you draw something and you want to block it, you use your chicken feather. And as you can see some lines. You can see the line. That is the work of broom. You have your broom for the line. And like this circle now, like this circle, that is the work of chicken feather. You use your chicken feather for the cup. And anyway, this one is not having.
You don't actually draw with a chicken feather?
Yes, the chicken feather for the circle. So this one is not having dots. We also use small knife for any dot that you want to make. Maybe your work is having dots. You can use a small knife for the dot. So that is how it is made. And it is more complex than this, the candle wax. Yes, and this one takes time more than the candle wax. This one is more expensive than the candle wax because this is the indigenous one. This is what our forefathers are doing during those days.
My name is Abimbala Oluwalowo. I'm also one of our art instructors here in Nike Art Gallery, Abuja. Still my hand now is wax, it's paraffin wax actually. And here I have foam here. So we normally trim this foam into pencil shape in order for us to do design. But before that, we need to melt the candle wax on the fire there. After we melt it, then we dip the foam into the wax and then it absorbs it. So we bring it and design on a fabric. And that design, the effect of the foam, the wax to the fabric is that it prefers the color of the fabric from the dye. So when we do any pattern on this with wax on these fabrics now, it's going to make the color of the fabric to retain with that particular pattern. So when we dye this one to black, and so all those other parts will go for black, and the part the wax have touched will retain the white. So and after that, we'll soak into the hot water to get rid of the wax, so that we can achieve the fabrics just like this one we call candle wax batik. So you can use to do any pattern, any motifs, anything you want to do at all. Sometimes we do like a one color, two color, even a multiple color. If we are doing like a one color, we just do it once and then we'll dye it. If I do like a two color, we do it, we'll bring up before we dewax it and design it again. Our three color, multiple color before we dewax it. That's how we achieve our candle wax batik.
We are not in an era of phone, no social media, no internet, but still, people are still communicate with different signs and symbols during those days. So that is what Mama Nike converted into a painting. And also, we can translate this and fabric also, like what I'm wearing. If you take notes, you will see this type of design on this artwork also. As you can see, this is made from motorcycle tire. Art is life. Let me surprise you guys about this painting. This is the work of Kende Akinere. He's also one of our famous artists. And if you look at this artwork now, it's beyond seeing a staircase or a bush. It's beyond that. If you take a look at it, you see a human faces, a side face of human being.
My name is Sonia Lana. I'm a proud Nigerian from the Royal Kingdom of Opobo. Nigeria is my home, although not my birthplace. And my first notion of Nigeria was really what I was told from my mother. I happened to have grown up in Germany, and when the Civil War broke out, I just saw images on TV about Biafra and about starving children and all of that. And I was a little bit detached. I was told that I came from that place, but to me, it didn't really seem that I was from that place. But then, when I was about to finish my secondary school, I visited Nigeria for the first time. I was 15. And my impressions, of course, were, Nigeria, we always hear of Africa being the dark continent. That's when you're in Europe. And I was pleasantly surprised. Africa was anything but dark. And Nigeria was actually a quite thriving place. The beauty of it all is that then I recall that the Naira was I think it was a Naira to $2 or something like that, or the other way around. Anyway, the exchange rate was really, really favorable. And yes, 2 years later, I came to Nigeria to start my university education. And again, Nigeria was on top of the list when it came to African countries to be reckoned with. I did part of my education in France, and having a Nigerian passport then was a big plus. As a matter of fact, I was in the prestigious University of Grenoble, and they put all the Nigerians in what they call the OPEC towers, because Nigeria enjoyed such great respect. So we were put in the OPEC towers with other oil-producing countries, the Arabs and so on, and we were treated specially like kings and queens. Fast forward to 2022, the story is somewhat different. Kings and queens? I don't think so. As a matter of fact, these days we try to hide our Nigerian passports, and that should not be so. My personal ambition is to restore the Nigerian pride. My personal ambition is to showcase what Nigeria has. We have so many things to be proud of, from the entertainment industry to our culinary skills to our, name it, to even when it comes to tourism. Our natural resources, of course, not to speak of. And then there's so much more. I live in the nation's capital, Abuja, and it is such a beautiful city. But apart from that, my cultural heritage, as I said, is from the Royal Kingdom of Opobo, and you need to visit Opobo Town. Opobo Town is a historic place. It's a place where I believe it should be a mecca of sorts. As a matter of fact, recently I spoke to someone and I said to them, I see Opobo Town as Camp David, somewhere where presidents should retreat to when they need to really discuss matters of state. Because of the serene environment, the gentle lull of the waves. Opobo is 3 square kilometers, and it is literally at the mouth of the Atlantic Ocean. So you don't have to paddle very far out before you reach the ocean. And hey, the tide and the ebb of the water, it waxes one lyrical, and you just become poetic, whether you're a poet or not. So it's a place to be. And when you see the development there, you'll be astounded at how on what is an island, recently a road has been constructed, but you see magnificent buildings there. When people say they're going to the village, Opobo is anything but. And when it comes to showcasing my culture in the dance, in the music, it's all there. So I believe that Nigeria can rise again, can be great again. We've gone through several phases, from the military rule, then of course anything military was it, to now we have, I don't know whether it's still a nascent democracy or whether we are, I don't know, what are we now, toddlers? But nevertheless, we are getting there. And anything we can do to join hands, I enjoin every Nigerian, join hands, let's make it great. We are great already. And just like, let's make it greater, that's what I would say. Not really make Nigeria great again, but let's just make it greater. Because we are a great people, we are a great nation, and there are fantastic prospects. So Nigeria is really my home. I love it. I can't imagine being anywhere else. And I'm just so glad that I'm here, even at this point in time. Are there challenges? Sure there are. But there are challenges all over. The world economy right now is crumbling. But I've always been a person that sees the glass half full. And no matter what happens, we will survive. We are survivors. And I'm a survivor. And anything I can do to help somebody up, I will do it. So I think that is what my vision of Nigeria is, and what my experiences are when it comes to nostalgia. And I think back, I close my eyes and I think, yes, of my university days and of the 70s. As a matter of fact, when I was in university, you would not believe it, we are only 11 in my course. And when I look at universities now and I see teeming hundreds, for example, in languages, or the course I read, there are maybe over 100 students in the class, and I just marvel. So things are different. We used to have Naira and Kobo, and I would buy sweets with one Kobo. With 1 Kobo, I could get 8 toffees. I remember that vividly. But now the Kobo doesn't even exist anymore. At least the coin, we only see it on paper. But life evolves, life happens, and the important thing is to change with the times. I believe it is Darwin that said that it is not the strongest of species that survive, neither the most intelligent, but those that are more adaptive to change. And that's what it's really all about. So, now you know.
Decision, you understand vision. See it in your eyes as a team, we are winning. We can let it slide in the past, reminiscing. I got stories in my past, chapters that are missing. deep it. Didn't really care about rep. African boy, I only chase what's next. Ting by my side, once growth success. Past test with the D gets the greatest sex.
Yeah.
your eyes, just a team, we are winning. We can let it slide in the past, reminiscing. I got stories in my past, chapters that I'm missing. Deep it, didn't really care about rep. African boy, I only chase what's next. Ting by my side, once growth, success. Past tests with the D gets the greatest sex.
Time goes by, looking at the future. By my side, I don't wanna lose you. Catch my vibe, I know what you're into. That's my style, can you get the picture?